don't actually know how to start this. Hi everyone, it's Chloe Adams from the internet. I decided to make a Q&A video because I get asked questions a lot and I thought I'd answer some, and I received a variety of responses. So I'll be trying my best to answer them all here. Now they're just in a random order. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. So yeah, first off, I have a tweet from Fat Garmy, Jiro. Who is your favourite Twitter user to interact with, and why is it me? Okay, I don't like picking favourites. I don't have a favourite Twitter user. I just have people that I happen to speak to a lot. But honestly, I think you're all cool, Jiro. You're awesome. I think you're really funny with the comments that you give. Second up, from Not a Skeleton. Have you met my friend and saviour, Jesus Christ? Not recently. Maybe in the future. Third up, from Mega Mike. How old is your dick? 19? Okay, the next question's from Fraser Click. When is Tito time? Approximately Nutshack o'clock. And the next one's from Dan. When is your birthday, and would you like a present? My present is the 6th of May, and you're welcome to get me presents, but I'm going to feel awful because I don't really have that much money and I can't give people very significant presents in return. And I'm not good at art, so I can't draw people things or write a song for them or anything. So yeah, feel free to get me a present, but I'll feel really terrible for it. Next question is from Cloud Strife's cat. Why did my parents abandon me? Sad face. Assuming that question is a joke, because if not, I'm really, really sorry. Because your profile picture is a ginger cat person. Because they were never your parents at all. Next question is from Dubs. How long is David Cameron's dick? A lot of dick questions from this. The approximate length of a pig's oral cavity. Next question is from Facialo. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Which do you find to be ruder? Not using your preferred pronouns, or not using pronouns at all when referring to you? Okay, well, I've experienced both of these before. I think not using my preferred pronouns makes me more uncomfortable, so it's kind of ruder in that sense. Not using pronouns at all, I've had people do that to me before. They just kind of avoid it, or they use the second person, or they just use my name. If you feel really uncomfortable using my preferred pronouns, I'd much prefer that to misgendering me. Okay, the next question is from Shemi. If please respect my pronouns is a question of manners and agency to self-identity and self-determined labelling, how does your cis deal with it fit in? Okay, I personally don't have a problem with however people want to identify themselves. However, sometimes people are going to use inaccurate labels. For instance, a cisgender person saying, I would prefer not to be called cisgender, that's fair enough. I mean, if you don't want to be called cisgender, that's fine. But to me, it's sort of like saying, I don't feel comfortable being called brown-haired. I understand that some people might be uncomfortable with it, and if they don't personally wish to be called cisgender, then I won't personally call them that, but other people might call them that if they aren't aware. In the same way that if you don't attempt to present as a certain gender, then people may assume your gender, and it may be an incorrect assumption, and you have to be prepared for that. So I think in both cases you have to be aware of the fact that your personal self-identity might not necessarily match with how people perceive you. Now, I would possibly argue that pronouns are a little bit more nebulous than labels. I mean, cisgender pretty much just means not transgender. Someone saying, I don't feel comfortable being called cis, I can understand why some people don't feel comfortable with that, in the same way that some trans people don't feel comfortable being called a tranny or transsexual in a less controversial setting. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're not comfortable being called cisgender, then please tell me and I won't call you cisgender. I just think it's a useful label to describe people that aren't trans. Okay, next question is from Mikey Moonshine. Wine, beer or vodka? Well, I can't stand the taste of beer, and vodka just kind of gets you drunk, and I don't really enjoy getting super drunk, so there's not much point in me having it. So I'm gonna go with wine, because you can actually have it with something, and it tastes kind of nice. Okay, another question from Dan. What was your favourite game as a kid? Well, it depends on how old I was, because I used to play a lot of games. In terms of the game that I have spent the most time on, I spent like literally hundreds of hours on Team Fortress 2. I played it from like when they'd only just started bringing out the character updates to not long before they brought out the economy update. Yeah, I played pretty much continuously and got every single item apart from hats. But yeah, that's probably what I spent the most time on. In terms of what my favourite game was, probably Halo 2, because I played that pretty consistently until Halo 3 came out, and then it was Halo 3. Okay, the next question is from Zagaroth. Why do you sound so weird? Well, teaching yourself how to speak in a totally different tone and register and everything is quite weird, so I still feel like in my head I sound quite strange. Yeah, I agree with you, I do sound pretty weird. I'm just working on it. Next question is from Fantawall, aka Dana. What do I? Currently, I'm making a video answering people's questions. This is from George. I'm not going to bother even trying to pronounce his name. Do you accept that there might be truth to the concern that certain ideologically motivated changes to language can cause harm? I believe that, yes, they can be a problem. He explained on Twitter that he wasn't talking about things like alternative pronouns, he was talking about trying to shame other words out of existence, which is something that I don't agree with, because I don't really agree with consciously getting rid of words. I think if there's a problem with a word being used in an insulting way, I think that we should study how the attitudes that we possess lead to us using those words in a derogatory manner, rather than trying to get rid of them, which won't actually solve the problem. And I think people have talked about the cycle of insults, whatever it's called, before. They can be troublesome, but I think unless it's on the scale of something like 1984, where people actively try to change definitions to prevent people from talking about certain issues, or at least make it harder or less convenient to talk about those issues, then I think that's a serious problem, and unfortunately that's something that we're seeing more and more nowadays, with people trying to change definitions and things. I think at the end of the day, language should primarily exist to facilitate communication, so if you're trying to make it harder to bring across a certain point, then you have to question why you're doing that. Okay, next question is from Squad Leader 3590. Thoughts on the Swedish band Ghost? Okay, I've only listened to one song, I think, by Ghost. But they sound really cool. I really enjoy their style. I like the aesthetic that they go with as well. It's really unique and recognisable. I mean, I remember I saw them in a magazine a few years ago, and I can still remember that, even though I wasn't interested in the band at all then. As soon as I listened to them, I was like, oh yeah, I recognise these guys from here. Okay, next question is from Sonic Meerkat. Why is My Nintendo so terrible? I don't actually know what My Nintendo is, so I'm just gonna look it up. My Nintendo. Oh, it's the replacement for Club Nintendo. It's probably terrible because Nintendo kind of throw ideas at the wall until it sticks. As much as I love them, they are a bit guilty of that. Okay, another question up from Dan. What is your favourite hat? Now, I personally don't wear hats, apart from if it's really, really cold. I have a little beanie, which I might have somewhere. Hang on. Okay, so here's my little beanie hat. Yeah, this is, I mean, I only really wear this to keep me warm. I don't wear it to look fashionable or anything. And now my hair's ruined. As for aesthetically, my favourite hat, I don't know, I like old hats like, you know, top hats and bowlers and things like that. But I don't think they really look good when anyone wears them now. I think just hats aren't really an aesthetic anymore, which is kind of a shame. But in terms of girls' hats, I kind of like those ones that, you know, people wear at an angle, but the big ones, not the little tiny things that just sit on your head. Okay, this one's from Twitting System. Why is it that Windows Update is so slow and flaky when on Linux I can upgrade the OS and applications in seconds? I'm guessing Linux probably makes enough money to afford decent sized servers, but don't have enough users that those servers get bogged down. That's my guess. Might be wrong. Probably also the fact that Windows is a kind of, it's a beast, whereas Linux can be very simple if you want it to be, because that's kind of the whole point of an open source platform. I'm not an expert in operating systems, so I'm probably really terribly wrong here, but I'm guessing different programs use different installation methods and that affects things differently. Okay, my next question is from My Thousand Faces. What is best in life? That's a broad question. I think that's kind of up to you to decide. Yeah, I think it's kind of your decision what's best in life. I'm personally of the opinion that people should just try to get a life that's rewarding and help others, you know, but also make sure that they're satisfied as well. I don't know, do what you want. Okay, my next question is from Tal Brotum and Techie Folks. They both ask the exact same question. How much wood would Woodchuck chuck a Woodchuck chuck wood? 5. Okay, my next question is from Dubs again. Talk about the town you live in. Okay, well, at the moment I'm living in Canterbury, which is the head of the Anglican Church. It's probably the only city in the country that feels like a town. It's very old, and you can see that it's very old. There's a lot of listed buildings. There's a lot of buildings that I don't think anyone's even allowed to live in. They're just so old that they're just keeping them there. There's all sorts of things, honestly. It's a really nice place. It's really scenic. It's not at all representative of what the UK is like. It's probably more representative of what people think the UK is like. If you want to film something that's set in 18th century London, Canterbury is probably not a bad place to shoot it, to be honest, because it looks old. Not the area that I'm in. This was built in like the 60s or 70s. This is a housing estate. So yeah, this looks like an average British suburb, but the actual city itself is really amazing. If you go to the UK and you're anywhere near London, it's only about an hour or so by the high-speed train, which is also a cool experience. Or if you are from Japan or anywhere that already has high-speed rail, then it's a normal experience, and our normal trains are just really fucking slow. Come to Canterbury and say hi to me. Okay, this question's from the Korg35. Do you still make music? And do you have a SoundCloud account or something similar? I've never really made an entire original song by myself apart from for my music A-level. I have made some music. I will insert some music that I have made here. And I do have a SoundCloud. It is Jam Sponge. Okay, my next question is from Tyblorgen. Why are you so bad at games? I have terrible hand-eye coordination and I don't practice enough. Next question is from Mudkitborn. How do you pronounce my name? Okay, it's spelt Cathal. Now, you did tell me how it was pronounced. I've forgotten. I know it's not Cathal. I know I want to pronounce it Cathal. It's probably something like Coal or something like that, because Irish is a phonetic language that also decides to look nothing like English phonetics, even slightly. So, thanks for that, Ireland. Okay, the next question is from Kabayel. If you remove the wings of a fly, does that make it a walk? No, that's not how animal names work. That's not how names work. Names remain the same no matter what. My next question is from Victoria Gal. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the surname in your name. What's your favourite place in the UK? That is a very difficult question. I have been to lots of amazing places in the UK. Bristol, London, Exeter, Plymouth. Basically anywhere I've been in the country I think is awesome. I'm very excitable. I just like everywhere. Everywhere. Just go to the whole country. If you're really rich, just explore the whole country. Visit every town. Apart from Hordle, there's nothing there. I used to live there. There was nothing there. Okay, next question is from Actual Mountain. Boobs or butts? I don't think it's possible to decide. Okay, my next question is from Comrade Bornath. What's your favourite game and why is it The Witcher 3? Never played The Witcher 3. It looks cool, but I don't own it. And I'm not planning to buy it anytime soon unless it's on sale for like 10p. What's my favourite game? Again, I don't really pick favourite games. I just have games that I am currently playing. Right now I'm playing quite a lot of Mad Max, Payday, which a friend of mine got for me very recently, and Overwatch. Okay, I've got another question from Twitting System. You've mentioned you want to work in the NHS. What prompted your career choice and how has training been so far? Basically, I really love languages and linguistics in general, and I like helping people. So I'm interested in becoming a speech and language therapist so that I can basically combine all of the things I like doing all in one. I want to work in the NHS specifically because I want to be able to help as many people as possible. As for training, right now I haven't done any training. I've been looking up about the process, and basically after I've finished my current undergraduate's degree, I can take a 1-year course in speech and language therapy. There are probably other things that I need to do, but I'm going to be checking those out. I'm still going to be in university for a little bit longer, and I've focused my modules on studying things which are going to be useful to me. And next question is from the Cog35 again. Do you think that Turkey or any other country should be kicked out of NATO? Honestly, I'm not familiar enough with NATO politics to really know. Their recent bent towards authoritarianism is very worrying. And I say towards, I mean further towards. It's not like Erdogan has been, following in the footsteps of Ataturk or anything. But I don't know about kicking them out unless it's believed that they could potentially be a danger to the integrity of the organisation. I think it's better to try and work with them for now without just appeasing them, rather than potentially turning them into an enemy. Next question is from Wolfimus, or Zenemy. GTA or Saints Row, and which installment? Honestly, I feel like it's kind of swings and roundabouts. I really enjoy the scope of GTA, especially the most recent game. I enjoy how much stuff there is to do. I enjoy how ridiculous the online is. As for which installment, I haven't played Saints Row 1 or 2. I haven't played GTA 3 or Vice City or much of San Andreas. 4 and 5, I think I probably preferred 5, but they're both fun. I like both of them. As for Saints Row, I think the third one's probably my favourite in terms of the 2 that I have played. I know I say I don't pick favourites, but it's a little bit easier to pick with games within the same franchise. This next question's from Squad Leader 3590 again. Why do hot dogs come in packages of 10 but buns come in packages of 8? In the UK at least, finger rolls, which is what we call hot dog buns, aren't just sold for hot dogs. I guess they sell them in packages of 8 because those are just convenient ones. I'm sure if you look around you can find 10 packs of buns and 8 packs of hot dogs. I'm guessing it's probably mainly that they're not the same companies that make hot dogs and buns. This next question is from Wet Sprocket. Are you from like a local commercial or no? Okay, the next question is from Platinum Cats. Who is the cutest lesbian couple you know, with one of the 2 girls called Katie and the other having the Twitter @Mayana? To be honest, you two you do seem like a very sweet couple, and I'm happy for you both. Woo. You're definitely in the top 1 of couples I know that are called Katie and the other one has a Twitter handle called Mayana. The next question is from Daltimus Prime. Do you think there's any credence to the idea that anime is really a satanic plot to turn our children gay? I mean, honestly, in 2016, I wouldn't put it past them. The next question is from Dan again. Will you be a cam girl, and do you need outfits for when you become a cam girl? First of all, no. Sorry to let people down. Second of all, like I said, if you want to send me clothes, that's cool. but I'd feel really terrible about it, and I'd honestly prefer people to just be like, hey, you're cool. Also, no one would watch that. The next question is from Cathal again. The burning questions: why are needles sterilised for lethal injections? I'm guessing it's just for the sake of good practice, and also because lethal injection seems to have the pretense of being humane. So accidentally injecting people with some, it might be that some of the chemicals in there, if contaminated, don't work properly. I would prefer there not to be any lethal injections or death sentences whatsoever. But yeah, I think sterilising the needles is probably the best idea, because you want it to go off perfectly, so let's not get any obstacles in the way of that. And my final question is from Sir Barrington. Pro or anti-scub? Now this is a tough one, but I think on the balance, I have to say both sides are fucking awful.